Technology the way you like it. This is Technology Today. Well, welcome everybody to Technology Today, episode 28. I'm your host, David Herzog, and I've got some stories from the world of technology. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Well, hello everybody. How's everybody doing? It's David Herzog here, Technology Today podcast once again. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're alive and well, and you're working. If you're not working, you're looking for work. Like yours truly is. Uh, well, in any way, let's go ahead and if you're curious and you'd like to listen to this podcast, you can listen to it on Spreaker.com in the technology section of the webpage, and on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Play, which I believe soon is probably going to be going to a Google Podcast, because Google sent out a message to everybody who has a podcast on their platform, and it said you got to get your stuff off of there and get it onto Google Podcasts, or else it's going to be gone. And I checked and verified that and made sure that my podcast episodes and everything that are on there, and where we're going to go ahead and get to the first story here, and let's go ahead and get started here. Well, okay. The first story that we got here is reported data breaches decline in H1 2020. Data breaches were rampant in 2019, occurring at an unprecedented pace. However, the first half of this year has seen a reduction in the number of reported events, reported being the operative word. In the first 6 months of 2019, more than 4 billion records were exposed in 3,800 publicly disclosed breaches, according to cybersecurity firm NortonLifeLock. A publicly reported data breach is one required by state law and reported by a government official, part of a public regulatory filing such as an SEC filing listed on a company website, social media, news release, or a breach notice letter, or published in an accredited media publication, or disclosed by a recognized cybersecurity researcher or firm, explained James E. Lee, Chief Operating Officer at the Identity Theft Resource Center, the ITRC. The center is a non-profit organization established to support identity theft victims in resolving their cases and to educate the public and make it aware of identity theft and associated issues such as data breaches, cybersecurity scams, fraud, and privacy issues. And some of the breaches that occurred included in 2019, last year, included bank holding company Capital One in March, 106 million records. Social planning website Evite in August, 100 million records, and American Medical Collection Agency, more than 20 million records breached, which led to the firm's filing for bankruptcy. In all, More than 15 billion records were exposed in nearly 7,100 data breaches throughout the calendar year 2019. Breaches in 2020 subside. This year, however, the number of publicly reported data breaches has fallen during this period. We saw less activity from many threat actors who would normally be making all kinds of havoc, according to Adam Kajawa, director of Malwarebytes Labs, the intelligence arm of anti-malware software firm Malwarebytes. The ITRC says the number of data breaches between January and June fell by 33% year over year. During that period, a little more than 163 million individuals were affected by breaches, 66% less than in January to June 2019. Risk-based security says publicly reported breaches in the first half of this year fell to a 5-year low, but still showed a total of 2,037. It said more than 27 billion records were exposed during that period, 12 billion more than were exposed throughout the whole of 2019. So what gives? Why the huge discrepancy in numbers? Differences in methodology, according to ITRC's Chief Operating Officer James E. Lee. Risk-based security includes information from outside the United States, while the ITRC's data is based only on events in the U.S. And I don't know if you caught that one. I'll go ahead and read that to you again. Risk-based security includes information from outside the United States, outside the country, while the ITRC's data is based only on events in the United States. So there's a difference there. Also, a national nonprofit that provides free services to victims of identity crimes or compromises. Our focus is on the number of people impacted, not the number of records exposed, Mr. Lee noted. In mass data breaches or exposures, there are multiple records per person, which always means the number of records exposed will almost always be in order of magnitude higher than the number of people impacted, he said. There is no one-to-one correlation between people and records. The reported versus the reality gap. Whatever methodology is used, getting the full picture of the threat from data breaches will be difficult, because not all breaches are counted. Both the ITRC and the risk-based security count on publicly disclosed databases. It's safe to assume there's a gap between the total number of data breaches that have actually occurred and what's publicly reported, ITRC's Lee said. And yeah, I would tend to think that's right, about that. Further, there is less coverage per event and delayed reporting from resources, he pointed out. Clearly, there is less information being disclosed. Each state in the U.S. has a unique definition of what is reportable, Lee said. There's a variety of regulations at both the state and federal levels governing when a security or data breach is reportable. So it's virtually impossible to project how large the gap is between reported events and unreported or underreported data compromises. Some organizations may hesitate to report breaches because they're afraid this will damage their reputation or make them a target for future attacks, Malwarebytes Labs Kajawa suggested. Cybercriminals switch to tactics. Delays in reporting are one reason for the reduction in the number of data breaches publicly reported. Another could be that cybercriminals are now focused on leveraging the data stolen in previous breaches rather than going out and getting more, according to ITRC's Lee. The significant rise in credit stuffing attacks driving unemployment fraud as much as $26 billion, according to the Department of Labor. Data-driven phishing attacks and ransomware attacks where data is not exfiltrated demonstrate the consumption to acquisition ratio has favored consumption so far this year, Lee observed. Malwarebytes found a surge in phishing emails using COVID-19 as a cover for malicious activity that contains commercial malware such as Ave Maria and backdoor.netwire.rc. These malwares are remote access Trojan programs that let a hacker gain authorized access to a victim's PC to monitor user behavior, change computer settings, browse and copy files, and use the PC's internet access for criminal activity. Ave Maria targets large enterprises, while backdoor.netwire.rc is aimed at SMBs. Other phishing attacks are hidden in messaging, including fake bank alerts, package delivery notifications, and eBay bids. So, gotta watch your emails, everybody. If you don't trust it, delete it. Don't click on it, just delete it. Cybersecurity firm Agari reported in July that a Russian criminal organization it calls Cosmic Links targets senior level executives at large multinational organizations, mainly Fortune 500 or Global 2000 companies. The criminals send targeted victims a fake letter from their company's CEO instructing them to work with external legal counsel to coordinate payments needed to close the acquisition of another company. They then send a fake letter from a real lawyer at a UK-based firm giving instructions about how to make the payments, which are funneled to mule accounts that Cosmic Links controls. Cosmic Links asks for an average payment of about $1.3 million compared to the $55,000 most other businesses email compromise attackers demand. Wow, that's really amazing. So you really have to be careful what you do online. Gotta watch everything you do, every link that you click. Where you go. And it helps to have good malware and antivirus protection. On your computer. I'm a firm believer. I have Malwarebytes on my computer for anti-malware. And Malwarebytes has saved my many times because I've clicked on a link and Malwarebytes has brought up a message said, no, you don't want to go there. And anyway, we're going to go ahead and get to the second story here. Alright, and the second story here, yes you can install the August Windows and Office patches now. It looks like we're good to go with Microsoft's August Windows and Office patches. The second cumulative update for Windows 8.1 KB 4578013 throws some virtual private networks out of kilter, and the Windows patches may knock out your printers. For those of you paying for Windows 7 extended security updates, which I really don't know why anyone would do that, when you could just go, if you've got Windows 7, you just go to Windows 10, migrate all your data over, and just reinstall all your applications, and you're good to go. It would take a lot of work, but it's better than being on extended security updates, Windows 7. And anyway, there's a bit of good news on the horizon. It looks like Microsoft is finally hunting down the swarm of bugs in its latest Windows release, version 2004. Even the undocumented optimized drives bug that triggered incessant SSD frags has been addressed, albeit in an optional non-security CD week patch that appeared in eWeek. And as everybody should know by now, before you install any updates, it is a good practice, to always do a full system backup of your the data on your hard drive or SSD of your computer before you install the latest patches, just in case you have something that goes awry in some way, and you have something to go back to. and there's a zero chance that the patches, even the latest greatest patches, could hose your machine. So it's best to have a backup that you can reinstall even if your machine refuses to boot. This is in addition to the usual need for system restore points. There are plenty of full image backup products, including at least two good free ones: Macrium Reflect, free, yes, and easiest to do backup, and you know, if you don't mind sharing out $50 a year for Acronis, which I do, Acronis is one too, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it, and you know, I think $50 a year is a small price to pay, to have a backup of your data in case anything goes wrong. You get ransomware on your computer. Oh, let's see what else could happen. Your system board goes out, or your hard drive goes out. You have a backup. You have a backup that you can restore. And if you're going to install the latest Windows 10 cumulative update, if you haven't moved yet to Windows 10 version 1909, in the Windows search box type the WinVIR and hit enter. And let's see, let me go ahead here just a second, and I can actually do a demonstration on this to show you what to do to see what version of Windows 10 that you've got here. So what I'm going to do is I've got to get my browser down there, and I'm going to type in the search box there. I'm going to type the WINVER command right there, and that's going to bring up the WinVer command, and I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. And let's see, let me go ahead and go to the desktop right there, and as you can see right there, you're seeing this live right now. You type in that WINVER command in the search box, and it'll bring up a box right there that says Windows 10. And on my computer right now, I have 2004. I have the latest version. And this article here is an article about, if some people are having problems, with installing 2004 on their computers. I didn't have any problem installing this on all of my computers I have in my home, but some people may. And this is to outline the steps and what you do if you do what you're to do if you do have the problems. So there it is, and that's where you can see Windows 10 version 2004 right there. Let me go ahead and get that out of there, and we'll go back there to me, and I can get the everything back up and going here. Alright. And according to this article, the bugs in version 1903 are largely replicated in 1909 and vice versa. So there's very little reason to hold off on making the switch, although admittedly there's almost nothing worthwhile that's new in version 1909. And here are the steps that are involved. If you haven't installed this yet, the 2004 update and Office updates, to get started, the latest August cumulative update installed. Click Start, Settings, Update and Security. If you see a Resume Updates box, click on it, and that's all you need to do. Windows will install the August cumulative update at its own pace. If you don't see a Resume Updates box, you already have the August cumulative update and you're good to go. And if you're having any problems that you may hit and how to handle them, when your machine comes back up for air, don't panic if your desktop doesn't look right, or you can't log into your usual account. You've likely been bit by the temporary profile bug. Try restarting your machine 4 or 5 times. The bug may go away. If you don't, if that doesn't happen, well, that's why you get the backup, as I first mentioned, at the beginning of this story here. So that's why it's important to have backups. I make them all the time. You got to have them. Get your external hard drive, get a Cronus True Image or Macro Reflect, install it on your computer, and make your backups. However frequently you use your computer. And we're going to get to the final story here. So here we go. And that final story here is no, Amazon won't deliver you a burrito by drone anytime soon. And it seems that in mid-July, a UPS subsidiary called Flight Forward, amid the drone company Matternet, started a project with the Wake Forest Baptist Health System in North Carolina. The company's aims are decidedly futuristic to ferry specialty machines and protective equipment between two of the system's facilities less than half a mile apart. If you think of it, little flying machines zipping about at speeds up to 43 miles per hour, bearing the goods to you. At this point, though, the drone operations are little well human. The quadcopters must be operated by specialized drone pilots who must pass a challenging aeronautical knowledge test to get their licenses. And they must be observed during every moment of their journey by appropriately named visual observers stationed along the route, who must view the drones without binoculars to ensure that things won't crash into anything else in the sky. For cutting-edge technology, it's pretty low-tech, or as Matternet CEO Andreas Raptopoulos, I believe, puts it, with the tact of someone whose business model depends on still in development regulations not scalable. In Switzerland, where Matternet has worked with Swiss Post to complete over 3,000 flights transporting medical supplies, drones are monitored remotely from an operations center near Zurich. Despite the challenges, the promise of U.S. drone deliveries is attracting some big players this week. Amazon received a Federal Aviation Administration certificate to begin its drone deliveries, making it the third company after UPS and Alphabet's Wing subsidiary to do so. Amazon also has drone development centers in the UK, Australia, France, and Israel. The company didn't respond to questions about when and where it might start testing its flying delivery machines, but executives have made clear that they see drones as part of a strategy to deliver packages more quickly. The tech may have other benefits as well too. Drones are battery powered and don't spew emissions like a delivery van, nor do they clog up roads. So that's pretty much all that I have there. So you pretty soon, when all the bugs are worked out and all the kinks are worked out, I guess our Amazon packages are going to be delivered by drones. More than they will be delivered by all the delivery vans that they have now delivering everything that we order from them. And let's see. I believe that's all that I have right there. All right, and that's going to conclude the show here today. And if you're curious and you want to find out any more information about me, you can find me on the University of Cincinnati's homepage at homepages.uc.edu/Herzog DL, or you can listen to this podcast on Spreaker.com in the technology section of their webpage, and on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Play. And you can also watch this podcast on my YouTube channel, Technology Today, And also, if you choose to, you can follow me on my Twitter page where you can listen, listen and watch this podcast as well. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and watching today, and I'll be talking at you soon. Goodbye until next time.